Hello there guys, it's Joey, and this video is going to be called something along the lines of the healing witch spell, possibly snake spell or tarot spell or something along those lines. So this is the promised spell setup for the finishing of the healing mini-series. And I've got one more thing I want to do after this. I may actually video that after this and then upload them together, or I may wait, but I'm not sure yet. I'll see how I feel when we've done this video. And I meant to do this the other day and I had a very strong urge to just hang on a bit and wait until something sort of lined up energy wise and symbolically anyway, in terms of symbolism and crossover. And what it actually turns out is that I was having a lot of white dragon imagery, especially in dreams, and this was unusual for me. I've never had much dragon imagery at all within my own spiritual practice. And I came to this sort of thought today where I sort of realised that what was actually sort of the progression of the dragon imagery was tying into dragon and snake imagery through Ouroboros. And if you don't know what Ouroboros is, it is a very ancient symbol of a snake or dragon devouring itself, and it's this primal symbol of the unending circle, the divine circle, life, death and rebirth. And as I sort of sat there and did a little research, did a little reading, did a little thinking and mulling over what the connection was, I realised that it's basically the in-between between healing and transformation. And if you've been following the healing mini-series, you will know that it's gearing up for the transformation stuff, that we need to start off on a good place within ourselves, so heal ourselves up in many different ways before we undertake personal transformation work. And it came to me that the connection snakes and snakes as serpents, or serpents and snakes, is the ideal symbol because it is so connected with healing, and it's also so connected with transformation, as we'll see when we go through some of my ideas and concepts for this spell work. And I'm going to talk about this spell work in depth, what we are doing, why we are doing it, and what the symbols mean, what the images are for, why things are placed the way they are, crystal meanings, and so on and so forth. So initially my thought was about that the silver dragon that I was dreaming about was very much a lunar healing water-based energy, and it did start off as that, and it sort of progressed and made me realise, and I was reading about Tiamat, who is described as being a goddess of chaos, and often she is seen as dragon-headed or sometimes serpent-like and has connection with water. There's also that very primal energy that's connected to water, which is also inherent in snake and, of course, dragon symbology. As well as going through time, the snake around the staff, or the caducus, if I'm pronouncing that right, I have no idea, is associated with the Greek god of medicine, Asclepius. And snake energy is considered to be incredibly healing. There is the Kundalini from yogic philosophy, which we will read on and touch on again momentarily. And I just have to grab the Mary L book. 1 second, my apologies. Sorry about that. Right, so the idea from yogic philosophy of the Kundalini, a form of corporeal energy. It's the idea that you have an energy in or around the base of your spine, and it coils around your chakras like a snake as the process of awakening. That's perhaps tying in a little more to transformation, although you can argue that awakening such energies and pulling such energies through your chakras is to do with healing. Snake as a totem or as a power energy animal to work with, as passing through the transition with healing to transformation, seems to be the ideal choice. It seems just, it fits perfectly and beautifully within healing, transformation, life force, primal energy. The snake is close to earth energies and represents life force. The shedding of snake skin is synonymous, of course, with transformation. The idea that a person needs to know how to poison so they know how to cure is a quite popular one, particularly within magical circles, and that can be the duality of snake venom, which in itself has dual properties. Celts sometimes called druids adders, and the druids were earth-based spiritualists concerned with healing and magic and all the type medicine man and woman type energies. So it's calling on this imagery that we have decided to set up, we being me and the foxes, obviously. I don't know who, well, maybe it's me and the Morrigan because she's very close right now. Okay. And as well as these ideas, these general concepts, I wrote down the snake prayer, and that is a series of prayers devoted to each animal, and you can find them quite easily online, although the snake prayer is a little bit more difficult to get hold of. I call on the spirit of the snake. I call on the primal and healing forces you carry. Call on your intuition and your heightened senses. Help me remain pressed close to the present, so that I might experience this existence directly. Make me aware of subtlety and open to change. Sensual and fertile spirit, I ask you for transformation. Help me shed that which I have outgrown. Clear my eyes so I might slide free of the past and into a newly formed now. Coil your power, speed and precision within me, so that I might harmonize with the invisible and swallow whole the wisdom I seek. So that's the snake prayer. That might actually be something you wish to utilize within the progress of this spell setup. Again, this is just a suggestion, it's a layout, and how you actually engage with this or tweak it to your own personal feelings or preferences, or which cards you have available to you or which crystals you have available to you is very much up to you. So there's a strong underlying earth energy to this setup, which may or may not surprise you. Snakes are considered to be close to the earth because obviously how they travel, belly on the floor, although they're considered by a lot of people to be quite fiery, especially given that they are synonymous with wands in the Wild Unknown deck. It's not uncommon for this connection to fire as well. However, the healing process in itself is a form of transformation magic. We want to transform ourselves to be healthier, to be happier, to be free of negativity as much as possible, to be free of what ails us, and to make steps on self-realization and transformation. So the combination of earth and fire is no bad thing, and in fact we've actually got energies for each of the elements within this setup. The Fool within itself contains watery energies from the dragon serpents, which we will discuss when we go through the cards. The Daughter of Wands has the fiery, earthy crossover. The Seven of Swords is an air card, and of course the crystals are actually earthy. And then at the top there we have the World, which encompasses everything including spirit. So all energies within the terms of the elements are present. You have to forgive me, I've had a headache today and it's getting to me, but I wanted to make this before time ran out. Okay. So we've talked about the snake and the snake prayer and the ideas behind healing magic and the snake, as well as moving into transformational magic, as well as healing, of course, being a transformation of itself, as well as the snake having ancient ties to healing medicine. The idea of the snake being coiled within the self is something which I'm not well versed enough on yogic practice to fully explore that. That's something I'm interested in and will be pursuing. So if it is something that you want to know more about in terms of yogic practice and chakra work, then that is definitely something worth investigating. I know I will be. Right. So let's talk about what we have in front of us and why that is there, and the symbology and then the meanings of the cards and so on and so forth. So burning away, and you can't see it, is some incense, and it's actually another one of the white magic incenses. I got the unicorn one and I thought we would try this one. If you would kindly focus. I know the setup's lovely, but yeah, there we go. Forest Fairy Bouquet. It's not as nice as the unicorn one, but I really wanted something earthy, and there you go. The idea behind the earth part of this is to keep you really grounded, to keep you close to yourself. And in matters of healing, you want to cover all your bases anyway, but your earth covers your physical self, your body, and it keeps you rooted, it keeps you grounded, it keeps you close to nature. And then of course snake energy has this deep tie with earth work, earth healing. We have all the other energies within, balancing them all out, but then there is perhaps a little bit more earth energy in this than any other, perhaps. So then in the very centre we have a white candle. This is one of my white candles, one of my creations. And you could go with anything earth coloured in terms of candle if you wished, or white. That reminds me, while I think of it, for incense, if you didn't have, and you're not likely to have that particular incense that I had specifically, well, I don't know, you might do, but I'm guessing it's a weird one, then go with an earth-based patchouli, or you could align it to what healing you're seeking. So a purification, a frankincense, a eucalyptus, a myrrh. If you needed a warmer energy, if you were looking at heat, if you were looking at embracing the sort of more fiery side of things, you could go with a cinnamon or a clove, for sure. Again, just tailor it to your needs. So I've gone with a white candle because I don't have any brown or earthy colours. don't tend to have a lot of green in my house at all. I'm not a big fan of green. And white is kind of nice in its term of its purification, its purity of focus. It also works well with the World card, which we will talk about in the end. And it sort of brings spirit in a little bit more as well. It gives it a sort of divine focus down the centre. And of course, it's as close as I could get to silver without using a taper candle, which wouldn't work for the setup. Then we have 4 tarot cards, 2 from the Wild Unknown, 2 from the Marielle. In this circumstance, whether you have the cards or not will determine which cards you use. However, if you can get things to do with snake or dragon imagery, that's what I would go with. So we have the Fool from the Marielle Tarot, the Daughter of Wands from the Wild Unknown, the 7 of Swords from the Marielle, and the World from the Wild Unknown. Then we have 4 pieces of rhyolite or rainforest jasper. Also, I would anoint your candle with something earthy, earth-based. So I would suggest cedar wood. Oh, alright, don't focus then. That's cedar wood. Essential oil. Balance, rebirth, regeneration, regrowth, healing. Brings balance and steadfastness to the spirit. It encourages us on our path. Holds spirits of the ancients, teaching us to hold fast to the earth for purification, assisting us in need. A vibration to come closer when the wisdom of the ages is needed. Ancient Egyptians used it to anoint the bodies of the dead so they might have rebirth and regrowth. So that's the cedarwood essential oil which would anoint your candle. And of course we are actually working it within my silver dish, which I use for all sorts of things because I love it. But it's silver, so it aligns with my silver serpentine dragon energies that have been going through. If you were going for a more lunar slant, it would work very well for that, although you could arguably use it for a sun wheel as well if you so desired. However, the overarching theme here is of course the circle, the cycle, the divine Ouroboros, the beginning, the middle and the end, life, death and rebirth. In terms of healing, it's because we need to pass through the phases of each stage in order to then be healed, ready for transformation on a spiritual level. So it's also working through the levels of mundane to spirit. There's an energy of that connected here as well, that earth and spirit are sort of very connected within the course of this spell work, this tarot spell work, because it helps us to heal ourselves in the physical form, even if it's slightly more abstract than that, even if it's an emotional matter or a mental matter. And it's healing us on a physical sense and then moving into a spiritual sense. So I like that very much. Okay, so let's talk about rhyolite first and then move on to the cards, as it's easier. I will attempt to zoom in on a piece of rhyolite because I think it explains it very well, although the meanings are perfect. Anyway, right. Rhyolite or rainforest jasper, I call my snake headstone. It looks very, very, very much like snakes. Snakes! Why did it have to be snakes? Right, there we go. So, from the Book of Stones, the keywords associated with rainforest jasper are earth healing and connection to nature. Simmons suggests that it offers a key to one's heart connection to nature. It awakens the awareness that we as creatures are not separate from the world of animals or plants or minerals. Works to align one in harmony with the balance of one's natural, perfected pattern as a living organism. Can bring needed balance to the body and assist one in treating the body better. And from Aishan's reading, is the doorway to the realms of natural power and wisdom, the interconnectedness with all things, and the ability to utilize that connection for balance and healing of the earth and of one another. Natural wisdom consists of the highest spiritual teaching contained in all of nature. It is a stone for earth healing and sacred connection to the Great Mother. This provides a link to healing, invigoration of the self, personal growth, hope, renewal. On an emotional level, it brings hope, renewal, invigoration and energy, useful for use with grief or depression. In terms of the physical, can be used for invigorating the liver and detoxifying the body, and so on and so forth. Right, so it has a very grounded earth energy, is the overarching theme and message. It's used for healing, and it can be used for the interconnectedness of all things, which goes to the idea of the connection between the earth and spirit. The idea that the spirit, the divine spirit, the miraculous energy of creation moves through all things, through nature, through us, and no matter how you see deity. And this interconnectedness through Mother Earth, through our relationship to nature, is what a lot of us consider to be quite healing. The idea that witches go to nature to heal is a popular one. So it also helps with a sense of grounding, as well as connecting us back to a sense of hope. We are permanently connected to the divine. We are part of this earth, and it is a part of us. That works in terms of snake imagery as well. The snake is close to the ground, it's close to earth. That base energy at the base chakra being where it starts moving through us, and making sure our earthly body is healed and healthy and in balance is a good start to all forms of healing work. So I want to talk about the progress of the tarot cards, and then we will discuss the meanings. So first and foremost, I want to bring attention to the fact that there are 4 tarot cards and 4 crystals. In this sense, the tarot cards can be considered the work or tools of the spirit, and crystals are going to be considered the tools of the earth, although both, of course, are inextricably linked through Ouroboros to each other, that relationship between earth and spirit, which is so pivotal for this spell work in terms of healing. 8 is also the numerology for this year, 2015. When added up comes to 8. 8 on its side is infinity, as well as Ouroboros, which of course ties back to the snake dragon imagery. The progression of the tarot cards starts with the Fool, moves to the Daughter of Wands. I decided to put the 7 of Swords opposite, because 7 is a number of learning, teacher and student, rather than having it before the Daughter of Wands for a particular reason. Arguably you could have them the other way around, but I wanted them there because of the energy of the Daughter of Wands is more about being in a place ready to learn, and ready to engage, rather than the idea of actually engaging. And then Seven of Swords, sorry. Seven of Swords is then a little bit more action, a little bit more learning. And then we finish off with the World, and basically I wanted the first card of the major arcana here, the Fool, the beginning, the starting out, the zero, and then the completion here. So we have basically an entire cycle within the imagery of the tarot cards, even though there are only 4 of them, which I chose for the purpose of this role. Okay, so let's have a read of the card meanings. So first and foremost we have the Fool from the Mary L. Tarot. We won't read the entire thing, just the bits of key importance. The Fool is a living caducus. So I believe we've already mentioned caducus. Yep. Caducus is the stick with the snakes coiled around it, the healing medicine totem or symbol. I love it when a plan comes together. The Fool is a living caducus, living tree of life, the beginning and the end, a double helix of DNA, the Kundalini winding up the spine, the soul of man. The image itself is of a universal key with all elements of creation, the descent of spirit into flesh, and the ascent of flesh back to spirit. I think we're working here. I think that's adding up. Beautiful. I love it. I love it when spirit guides like that. It's fantastic. In the beginning, the Fool is unnumbered, free, limitless, the beginning. The dragons are the twin serpents held by the Sumerian god Enki. They were the living rivers that Enki poured forth from his pitchers. The Tigris and the Euphrates, which flowed around the first civilizations of Mesopotamia. In the sky he was the constellation Aquarius, the water bearer. His symbol was the caducus. The butterflies are the symbol of transformation of the soul, and the monarchs in particular are the symbols of the migrating soul, since they are the only butterfly to make a yearly migration. I think it works beautifully. I'm really pleased. So we have lots of caducus, lots of snake energy, a hint of transformation energy coming into it with the butterflies, the element of water being there, but the idea of the energy of the snake or serpent being within our very DNA, and the relationship between earth and spirit and back again. So then we have the Daughter of Wands down here. Let's move it back a bit so you can see it's actually an Ouroboros or infinity symbol within the snake. And the Daughter of Wands is about the creative energy of spirit, the enthusiastic, high energy, new beginning, new action, assertiveness, as well as the blossoms in the picture. Hopefully you can see there are little flowers. New beginnings, new action, growth, connection again of earth through the blossom to the spirit, here indicated by the shape, the interconnectedness of all things. A little bit more fiery, a little bit... It's basically the catalyst to change, is why I wanted it. I considered the mother as well being a little bit more mature, but I thought what we actually really need for healing work to really go for it after we've initiated, so the Fool would be the initiation, is the catalyst in which to fire ourselves up to engage with the healing work in order to make that change. So the one that's a little bit perhaps odd to, in choice of the meaning, is the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is about innovation, transfer of power, transfer of knowledge, reason, mental strength, free will, belief in self, freedom of movement. It also combines the energies of the raven with the white snake. However, the meaning of the raven in this particular card is similar to Prometheus stealing fire from the gods and giving it to man. The raven steals the sun and gives it to man. It's about purpose and free will, as well as primordial elements. And this card in the Marielle talks about the immortal soul. The Elegy for the Soul by Plato being the black-winged horse, the charioteer and the white-winged horse, and the charioteer would will the chariot to go in the direction he required. And in terms of Plato, this was the two forms of the self, the base desires and the darker side of the self, and then the enlightened side of the self. So I actually wanted it more, it works in a sense of balance within yourself, finding balance within yourself in terms of healing, particularly if the healing you're looking at is tied to your emotional state and your mental well-being, which all healing is. Even if you're not suffering from a particular ailment which is related, such as depression or things of that nature, all illness takes its toll on us anyway, and takes its toll on our emotions and our mental well-being. So this card is about the balance. It's also a belief in self and free will, as well as strength. A transfer of power. So transfer of power is arguably the relationship that is the constant moving cycle of the energy moving between spirit and earth, and back and forth, life and death. So there you go. And last but not least is the world. I'm going to focus in on the world because I think it's amazing. I love the world on there, and it's very poignant in terms of imagery. There we go, there's the world. So this to me speaks of Ouroboros. We have a outer sort of coloured circle. Let's see if we can move in just slightly. There we go, with all the spectrum within it. The next cycle within there is the snake skin with the blossoms coming from it, and then a sort of white space at the centre. Now that white space at the centre, as well as the circular nature of this card, ties back to the fact it's on a circular dish, and we've been talking about cycles. The outer circle of colour could be argued to be the human spirit. And I read a beautiful couple of lines about this as in the process of reconnecting with this card. The human spirit, whose natural home is the cosmos, filters through the snakeskin. This is the cycle of spirit into matter, into spirit into matter, otherwise known as the divine cycle. Snake skin, as we've already discussed, of course, transformation and shedding of that which no longer serves. And my favourite line that I read about this card: between total black nothingness and pure white explosion of everythingness lies our whole world of variety and colour, both literally and symbolically. It is the completion, it is the fulfillment, it is the sense of wholeness, it is our connection to ourselves and our cycles, growth, death and rebirth. Life in a nutshell. So there you go. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a healing setup connecting to the energies of Ouroboros, serpent energy, snake energy, and earth into spirit, into earth, into spirit. Many blessings.